Make out or fake out? Where's the market going? What? What? Roll the intro.
Hola! It's your boy Big Rob back in the house. Welcome to Sin City Crypto, home of the entertainment-focused cryptocurrency content, where we take old, boring, and stale information and, well, we do it better than everybody else. That's what we do here. We take the crown not for the most amount of subscribers or views, but, well, the best damn show, period, is flying under the radar. You know what? Feels like a reversal is more or less confirmed. What do you think, man?
So you're on the make out side?
Bro,
What? The theme is fake out. What's the opposite of fake out? Are we going to make out? Like make it out?
Hold on. We finally did it. It's been a while. We got a new whale member, CP647.
Can you at least say his name right?
Roll the
674.
whatever.
67. Now,
Arr, she blows.
congrats on being a whale member. You get to decide what kind of whale do you want to be. Do you want to be a humpback whale?
Sperm whale.
Sperm whale. Do you want to be
A humpback whale?
I just said that.
A sperm whale?
I just said that.
You know what whales I don't like?
What?
The blue-haired land whale, the ones that live in Portland.
Blue-haired land whale.
Think about that one. All right, so...
I got it.
So...
You're talking about the land whales, the ones that can breathe air but not water.
The ones that yell at people when they're walking their dog. There's no bikes on the sidewalk.
How many times have you been to Portland?
I've been to Portland once, and that's all I need to go.
I've never been to Portland. I don't want to go to Portland.
You ever been down Martin Luther King Boulevard out here?
I have, yes.
You seen all the tents set up?
I almost had to stop there for gas.
It's not a campground out there. It's just the streets, and the whole damn city looks like that. Yeah. Anyways,
good times.
No,
Is that where you saw the land whales?
They're there. If you want to go swim with the land whales, go to Portland.
CP,
right.
we appreciate you, my friend. Thank you for supporting the channel. Okay, so you saw the thumbnail. It said fake out, right? A lot of people are worried. This is a fake out. They got PTSD. They're scared. They're afraid. No, we've seen this before and everything came crashing back down. Is it going to happen again? We're going to talk about that. Let's talk about that. Rob, do you think this is going to happen again? Are you on guard? On guard.
Yeah. Okay, so Bitcoin is securely held over 85,000. And in the rear view now is a candle wick that went down and tested 80,000. And at least in the short term, and this was the narrative I had yesterday, was that there's two scenarios that we're currently in. Both of them are positive for the remainder of the week. And I think that the likelihood of us going back down to 80,000 by the end of the week, I don't see it. I think it's very slim. Now, macro environment something could happen, right? President could announce tariffs on every country in the world other than our own. Maybe he'll even tariff his own country somehow. I don't even know how that makes sense. But anyways, take a look here at the Bitcoin chart here on the week. So as we're saying is that this was on Friday. Yeah, it was Friday night. We saw Bitcoin wick down to 80,000 on certain exchanges. Here on market cap, it says 81,000, but here we are. We did get as high as 88,000, and that was yesterday, right? Yeah. So yesterday we saw it went up to 88,000 or 89,000. So question is, will we knock on the door 90,000 today? I think we do. Oh, I am putting in my trades, my bets, my positioning. Yeah. Who's at the door?
Bitcoin. Who wants to come in?
Wow, that's
Thank you.
really, really great. So 90,000, I think, gets tested today. So
You think so? Really? 90K?
yeah. So I'm positioning my trades. I'm longing my trades. I'm putting my bets in on price to go to the upside. Alts are catching momentum. I feel like retail is recognizing that there's a reversal, a trend change here on Bitcoin. Now, you go to the 1 month, you look back on the last 30 days. It doesn't look pretty, right? We could have another scenario. Back in beginning of November, we saw this, right? Bitcoin went from 115,000, dipped down to 100K, hit 100K as support in the same way that we dipped down to 80K and hit that as support. And then we started trading back up. It seemed like, hey, 100,000 will hold. And then that kind of got invalidated, right? It fell off and lost the 100K support. So we could have another scenario lining up like this. But just like this played out earlier this month, regardless, I think that we get, I would say, a week and a half of positive price action no matter what, even if we do spill off. And so for me, I am going to the upside, but retail has come in with thunderous investments. Now, looking at the top 200 here, I wanted to expand our list a little bit further outside of simply the top 100. Let me make sure I'm on top 200. No, here we go. So taking a look at the top 200 on the charts, biggest gainers today, you got Monad, whatever you want to call it.
It's Monad.
So, interestingly enough, this one, Monad, is an ETH scaling solution. So, think of like a Polygon, Arbitrum, all that stuff. It's up 40% in the 24 hours, which also encompasses the week. So basically, if you look here on the 1 week, it just had a big run.
This was Coinbase's first like public launch where they try to do the whole, we're going to give the average retail user the same access that like high net worth individuals get in terms of investing in pre-sales. It was on Coinbase. If you have a Coinbase account, you would have logged in and immediately seen it over the last like week. And so there's going to be a lot of volatility. The trading volume is sitting at $260 million. It's the largest alt by a mile, at least on Bitcoin. Actually, not by a mile. I think Zcash is not too far behind. Zcash is at 132. So it's twice that of Zcash. And so just be careful. There's going to be wild swings. If you are going to trade this thing, have very tight stop losses. So, yeah.
So for me, I'm trying to identify like where is a good spot to start picking up cryptos to trade, things to keep an eye out on. So for me, I'm like, hey, here's an ETH play leading the race. Got it on my radar. If I start seeing some other ETH plays pop up in here, then it might be go time for ETH, man. Now think about this. If Bitcoin keeps rallying and it shoots past 90,000, goes to 95, 100K, let's just say before the end of the month, we're testing out that 100K mark, the one that David laughed at me about on Friday. He said, you sure you're gonna get it? I was like, hey man, I think it's by the end of the month. Wouldn't be surprised if we're testing 100K. Anyways, if that happens, I would expect some alts to absolutely shoot up and explode.
Cardano's one of them, right?
No. No, honestly, I'm not seeing it. So? No, although I wouldn't be surprised.
I would.
I'll just say that Cardano's retail will pump the shit out of that coin just out of nowhere. And sometimes you don't need an ecosystem with tons of dApps. All you need is just a bunch of degens picking their nose and saying like, hey, Cardano's going to $10. Now's the time. And I don't know. I'm not against Cardano. I'm not seeing the ecosystem, man. The ecosystem needs to develop a little bit and then I'll get back in. Until then, I've kind of put it on the side. It's in my wait to see pile. It's like if I had a kid that just was failing in school, I'm like, you know what? Once he starts getting better grades, I'll pay attention to him. Like, Dad, where are you? Like,
wow. Wow. Okay. Who says that? Hey kid, go live in the go live under the stairs there, Harry Potter, until you get better grades, and don't scream for food and starve.
I mean, hey man, sometimes
remind me to never bring my kids to your house. Jesus Christ.
So on the list though, something that's here that's making some moves today is Caspa. So I know we got a big Caspa community. Something about Caspa's telling me that it's something to keep an eye out for. Now I've not spoken well on Caspa lately. The charts have not been friendly to us, and well, we've seen little bounces here and there, but ultimately Caspa has not done well. Look on the 1 year, it is down and to the right. We've seen some bounces from 11 cents to 15 cents, from 8 cents to 10 cents, from 5 cents to 12. But ultimately, we just keep making lower lows. And, you can go back here on the all-time chart, and you can look, ever since we crossed over the 5 cent mark, which was back in 2023, we are back down to lows from 2023. Now, that's pretty disgusting. That means any person that has bought Caspa over the last 2 years essentially has lost money. So for those of you that bought Caspa in the last 24 months since 2023 when Joe Biden was president, you know what? It's been tough. But I will say that I think this is the bottom for Caspa. Locally, I think that we see at minimum a large bounce in the same way that we've seen bounces here where we went down to 6 cents and rallied to 12, went down to 7 cents, rallied to 11. And so whether or not I believe in this long term, whether or not I think that the bottom is in and we're off to 20 cents perhaps, I don't know. But I feel pretty confident that a reversal is here. I feel like this 5 cent bottom, which was currently at 3 cents yesterday, look on the 1 week here. 48 hours ago, we were at 3.5 cents, currently at 5 cents. I am thinking this will continue. I think that this will be a leader this week in the altcoin space. I got my eye on Caspa. I don't know what my exit position is. For short-term trading, I'm at about 52 cents to get out on this thing.
Goes to trade.
Why not? All right, so my most recent trade here, I got this pulled up. Entered in on a Caspa trade. Got in at 50.75 or 5 cents. I hate decimals.
Me too.
Yeah. 5.075
cents.
Yeah. Something like that.
Not $5.
Trade currently is at 5.026. So I'm currently underwater a little bit. I do have a stop loss at 49.
At least you're not a land whale, so you can't breathe underwater.
No,
that's good.
Yeah, exactly. So current stop loss here is at 49.5. So I entered in a trade, got in at 7.5. I'm looking to take profit at 52 cents. We'll see. My stop loss here is at the lower end of this this channel here where we're at. We did see earlier, this one is on the 15-minute candles, we did see it get as high as 53 cents. And so we'll see. It's ran pretty heavy. You can see here back this yesterday, last night, it was down at 4.5 cents. And so currently looking good, man. I got a good feeling about Caspa at the moment.
All right. We have the Magic Man joining us. Scott Lawrence asked he's going to be joining us here in a second. Scott asked, where would you guys recommend to learn and get started in trading? books, courses, YouTube. I think YouTube is always a great start. But I think I'm going to let Magic answer that question. Magic is I would argue, a professional trader. It's what he does for essentially for a living. And so he definitely trades more than I do. Everyone has a different way of learning. But once we get Magic on the show, we'll get his opinion on that. You know, we'll get into what a potential new narrative is. You know, we were talking about that the other day. We were like, what could be the next meta, the next narrative? We might have an answer. I'll talk about that in a second. But first, I want to talk about this. Let's talk about Texas. You ever been to Texas, Rob? We have. We've been to Austin together for that conference. Texas just bought $10 million worth of Bitcoin for its strategic reserve. So if you rank Texas globally in terms of GDP, I believe they rank top 20. I could be wrong. Someone could fact check me on that. Not nearly as large as California, but still fairly large. And while they bought before the U.S. government did. Now, the U.S. government has another plan, Rob, to get in some Bitcoin into their strategic reserve. They don't want to spend money and buy it. We know they'll seize it and keep it. But there's another way, Rob. There is another way. Where did that video go? I swear to God, if that video went right here. Take a listen to this. This is Warren Davidson talking about how the U.S. is going to get Bitcoin in the strategic reserve.
Introduced the Bitcoin for America Act, which would allow Americans to pay their federal taxes in Bitcoin. Tell us about this.
Well, look, we're talking about affordability. That's just your dollar's been getting crushed. You know, the house that you live in didn't inherently get more valuable. The money that you measure it in got worth less. And gold is another indicator. One of the best performers in the past year or 2 years has been gold. And that's just one of the worst performers has been the dollar. So a lot of people hold other assets. Bitcoin's been one of the big rises over the last 10 years for sure. And you could pay your taxes in Bitcoin and avoid capital gains on that. But the president created a strategic Bitcoin reserve. How do you fund it? Well, having one control point, the treasurer, Secretary of Treasury, control it makes sense. But you can fund it with no government spending just by collecting Bitcoin as payments for taxes. So that's what the Bitcoin for America Act does.
What are your thoughts? It's like anything but to buy, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. We heard the same thing. We watched the same video, or not that same video, but it was the same exact speech that we heard on Friday. And so
what'd you hear on Friday?
It's a video I played. Same congressman. He was in Congress or on the floor doing I think it was like a Fox interview. Talked about the same thing. Talked about buying Bitcoin. We watched the video, remember?
Yeah. I remember.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And then I was like, no capital gains on Bitcoin, and then you could pay taxes, and then how to buy Bitcoin in a
but that wasn't
budget-friendly way.
But that wasn't okay. So what are you trying to say? You've seen the video?
No, I'm saying it's the same video as last week that we played. I'm just saying that it's a new bill that I think I don't know why legislation has not moving faster. The president is extremely progressive on crypto. His son's out here posting videos of all of his miners, and he has multiple meme coins. There's multiple NFTs. You would figure that there would be more of a priority to pass legislation for progressive crypto. It's the same time, it is the U.S. government. I understand that things move painfully slow in Congress, and that to have fundamental change takes fundamentally way too long. I'm aware of that, but still, I was hoping for more, man. And so my concern is that these sound good, but will the bill even hit the floor?
This does not sound good. This sounds like shit.
Why?
What do you mean, why? The whole point of a strategic reserve is to buy it. And who's going to pay their taxes in Bitcoin? No one. We got Magic joining us. Magic, welcome back. How are you? I think you're.
See, we're arguing about taxes.
Yeah. You know, a strategic reserve. Wow, so cool. People can pay in taxes and we'll keep it. Wow, awesome. Stupid idea.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like what you guys talked about, I think, recently, where I think Rob was making the point that people just want to buy in dollars, like even Bitcoin. You know, there's very few people, including myself, that really pay for things in Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So
it's just
until
not
it's, you know, hey, I can, yeah.
I guess the only thing I would consider using my Bitcoin to buy would be a large purchase, like a home, a business. But I'm sorry, like day to day, paying a few thousand in taxes, I'm not doing that in Bitcoin.
It's for some weird reason, it's Bitcoin and only Bitcoin that this thing gets brought up in. Like anything else that you invest in, you wouldn't, it's not even like, it doesn't make any sense. Somebody was like, hey man, you can buy that in gold. I'm like, okay, for sure.
Buy that in Tesla stock, bro.
You can actually pay your taxes in S&P 500 stock. Like, all right, cool.
I'm not going to do it, but great.
You can put a down payment in 1965 Shelby GT Mustangs on your house. I'm like,
no, the better one is, hey, guess what? That kid you got hidden under the stairwell, you can sell him for Bitcoin. You know, the one you refuse to see until he gets good grades.
That's a good return on investment there.
Yeah.
All right, so
Magic has no idea what we're talking about. Rewind a video, Magic, to the beginning of the show. And
I'll watch it back.
It's a failed narrative. I don't know if it's because the Bitcoin white paper was an electronic payment network with the peer-to-peer. Maybe that has something to do with it.
But it's not that now.
And I think that at its earliest stages, that's what people were hoping for. But the reality of it is nobody really cares, man. Nobody wants.
I think
wants to pay.
I think what people fail to realize is if you're going to see something like that take place with Bitcoin, which is what obviously like the white paper and stuff is for, you got to see like a monumental collapse of the current system, which is not going to be good for anyone. I think at that point, your least concern is if I can buy and sell things in Bitcoin. You probably have bigger problems on your hands at that time. So
100%.
For now, it's still more of a speculation asset. And kind of like a store of value is how people see it. They're not really going to use it for transactions. That would require like the dollar and other systems to really fail. So
yeah, I agree. Okay, Magic. Speaking of Bitcoin, a lot of people are worried. Magic, fake out, dead cat bounce. Where are we going? Tell us what you got, my friend. What are you seeing on the chart? Oh, and then Magic, real quick, can you answer a question from our community? He said, if I want to get into trading, where would you guys recommend to learn, get started in trading, books, courses, or just YouTube?
You know what? I think there's enough out there on YouTube. I have a pretty extensive book library myself. I make books available in our group for people. I doubt they actually read them. But I think you should do a little bit of, I think you should do a little bit of both. I know that sounds it's not like a direct answer, but you know, there's really good resources on YouTube. The only thing about YouTube is you just have to be careful where you're investing that time. And then also remember, you know, there's a lot of people out there that are going to take advantage of you. It's like anything else. So you do have to kind of keep your wits about you when doing that whole bit. But there's really no wrong answer if you're just getting started. Just understand that the fundamental rule is don't like blow all your capital learning. And you'll eventually, you know, you'll be fine. Just, you know, keep that as like your core principle, and it doesn't matter where you start. It's kind of like anything. As long as you start doing something, you'll get better at it. So starting is the first thing.
I like to add my piece of advice to anyone wanting to learn trading is don't just focus on the technical side, focus on the mental side, because you can be great at identifying patterns and knowing the ins and outs of every trade. But if you're not disciplined and you're not mentally strong, you're going to blow your accounts and you're going to lose money.
I'm mentally strong.
You're just mental. All right, Magic. Bitcoin. We love you. Thank you.
Yeah, Bitcoin, really, really simple today. You guys have come down into, and we're on the monthly chart for anyone at home that maybe can't see. You've got a very clear sweep of the lows here on the month in terms of a swing failure pattern. You guys know I like to use these as support and resistance. So you've seen 1, 2, 3 months. We've returned to it. Same with our closures. And if you went out to the weekly, you even have this as a weekly SFP as well. So you haven't closed a weekly candle below 78,125, and you even have like a weekly level here. So this is kind of the obvious area for basing and support. And what you need to see now is just this move up. I'm going to get rid of that box, and I'm going to highlight a couple things that we visit often, and that's going to be our pivots. And main reason being is we are coming into next year soon. And this will be where your 6-month pivot is at. And then I do have a projection for the yearly pivot in a folder. And you guys know me and my folders. There we go.
You are so organized,
somewhere in this
bro.
range.
You put me to shame.
Man, this is actually a mess. I was a little bit of anxiety looking at it, but neither here nor there. So you're seeing between like 94 and 97 as of today, it needs to be reclaimed, which again is kind of like right here where you can see, you know, structure started to break down. So I think the areas are fairly obvious. Those are just your high time frame 6-month and 12-month averages. So they come across as a high low close divided by 3, and it gives you a horizontal level for the remainder of that session. So it would be good for the first 6 months and the first year, you know, and the, you know, corresponding year. So that is one way to look at it. Then also, if you were to look at this through the lens of just yearly candles, right? So yearly candle wise, Bitcoin almost never gives up the 50% mark on the path to upside. When you're going down, it's the opposite. So when you're heading down, the 50% mark, both in linear and log, I like to box it off. Sometimes it's a large box, but in this case, like in 2021, once we gave up that 50% mark, price did begin to accelerate to the downside. So what you don't want to see is the 50% mark be resistance. You want to see it being support. After we bottomed, we came up to the 2022 linear and log 50% area. It was our macro resistance before breaking out even higher, well above trending. And then it was actually our support from 2024. We almost tapped it perfectly, just kind of missed it by a minute. But as of today, if you were to look at 2025's yearly candle, which this is the low and this is the high, so kind of a smaller yearly candle, you would need to get back above this box here. And that's putting you kind of in the same ballpark as that 6-month and yearly average. Be about 100,291 to the high side of it and 96,887 to the low side, basically showing that if you're not back above that, traditionally post-halving, anytime you've lost the 50% mark of the previous year, you've actually gone into a bear market and it becomes resistance for the next year going into 2026. So that's what Bitcoin needs to do. I mean, very, very simple. I think the 50-week SMA is probably somewhere in that region. A lot of, you know, things that are telling you that, you know, that's the obvious area to look for. My outlook on Bitcoin is, again, going to the 3-month candles, looking at this only being an 18% candle from top to bottom, or bottom to top in this case, because it was a positive candle, when the average positive candle is in the 80 percentile for Bitcoin on a quarterly basis. So this was a very small underperforming candle. You almost never get 2 quarters in a row where it's less than 50% of the volatility. The average quarter to the downside is 37.74%. And you can see that we would expect a mean reversion, and we've almost hit that to the T. So it is saying that could you go a little bit lower, maybe dip into like the 70s? Yes, but I do think that this is an area that would be a decent place to look for that mean reversion back to when those averages do show up next year. So I am eyeballing this like 78 to like 83K-ish region as bounce territory, looking to see if we can't maybe put ourselves in a position to catch that next move up into like 98 to 100,000. In which case, if it's not reclaimed, I'll be looking to short. So,
Magic, can you show us your box again? The boxes?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Boxes.
Boxes.
So
Magic box.
Okay, so what you're saying, Magic, is okay. So that green box, the 2024 50%. Are you saying that that is support, or were you saying that that linear line you have up there, the EQ, that is going to be like what was? Can you just explain that again, real quick?
Yeah. So this is this box right here from 2024 is derived from the price action in 2024, meaning that the low that we took in at 38,000 to the high that we had around 100 and 107, 108. Yeah. This is the 50% mark. So if we just threw up fibs, you'll see how that kind of corresponds. And it's pretty simple. And then all you're doing is you're using that going forward into the next year. Oh, I have my negatives on for some reason. And we'll get rid of that. So this will be your 50% mark for this session. And we're just taking it, sliding it on over. And we're saying, okay, from last year's candle, if we see price retrace over 50% of last year's price action, we have problems. Now I'm using both linear and log, because logarithmic is percentage based versus linear, which is 1-to-1, where it's like, you know, we have an equal move. So if you take it out of there, you'll see that it's also the top side. So you wanted to see this be support, which we have come down to it, and it has been support. And you guys can go back further if you guys have more time in your own time at home and go to a chart that maybe has more history, because Bybit only goes back to like 2019. but you'll find that this is a really good way to gauge the barometer of a market. Not only that, you're below the yearly open in this case. But so if we revisited this needs to be support. But however, this one that you're seeing right here, technically we haven't closed the year. But if we did close the year from high to low, this would be your 50% mark for the year, assuming we don't make a new high or a new low this year, which is very possible that happens. But if we, there we go. You can see there's your linear 50%. And if we go to logarithmic, there's your logarithmic, giving you a nice little zone here that this needs to be reclaimed. And if it does, it gives you kind of a bullish bias almost, where you're saying, okay, we're above support and we're above like trending support in this case. So maybe we could see another leg potentially. And when you see the structure, it lines up really well. It maps out really well.
That's well,
it does.
Okay. I just that's a great way of looking at it. So you're saying by the end of the year, if we're not above 100, it's usually bear market territory?
Yeah, and it'll give you the same trade setup that I got in 2022. Caught some notoriety for holding trades for a very long time on the way down. And the setup was, again, there's your 50% mark that was here, right? So we had our 50% box coming into that 48K high going into the 2022? Yeah. And then if you looked at the yearly average for that year, it was also here, 47,000. And so was your bi-quarterly. So if you went back in time, we turned on the way back machine, you'll see that it zoned off, that this was the fabled dual pivot zone, PP zone, whatever you want to call it, but they're stacked on each other. And you'll see the same thing coming with the 6-month and yearly candle as well inside that 50% mark zone. So this was actually the area that I started getting short in going into 2023. I got a new dog for the bear market. I named him Baloo after a famous bear. I tried to be as subtle as I could be when I said I was shorting this thing into the floor and held it all the way into the lows here and eventually closed at 18 after we reclaimed the range. But that's how I found that short. It's just the same setup actually exists on other more high time frame charts. You could go back to the last bull and bear market and see the exact same one in 2018. So this is a pattern almost that you can play over and over. So again, you've already made the 20K high here, but you'll notice the high is already in. We get a new year, but this is your pivot zone. So you have a 6-month and a yearly pivot right here that are stacked on each other, and it becomes your macro resistance where you could have been collecting shorts if you missed the all-time high. So there's always a secondary opportunity. You just have to kind of understand where to gauge that risk. And had you been shorting into this, you would have been fine because you never actually recover until the bottom of the market was already in. So very similar is what I did here, and then I'd be looking to do again here if it plays out that way. And obviously BLX is dead, so I just have too much stuff on there to get rid of the chart for now. I need to transfer things over to like Coinbase or something.
Dude, that's good stuff, Magic. Wow, that was very thorough. Okay, so guys, 100K by the end of the year. That's kind of to take the elegance of what you just went through, and for the people who want the cliff note, if Bitcoin's not over 100K by the end of the year, typically it's bear market territory. So, people at Magic are always looking for a number, right? A price to put on, whether it's going to be a bear or bull market. I'm not saying that's what you said. I'm just saying from my understanding and what true. So, okay.
What I think is funny is so many people said 100K wouldn't matter because we overshot it, and 100K was just this round number. But now when you go back and you look at it, and you're like, actually, 100K is pretty important.
Yeah.
So,
well, you have like the trio, right? It's a big round number. Rob's a big proponent of big psychological numbers, right? And obviously, with the analysis you gave, it's a pivotal going up to be a resistance level. Before we get into the next chart, I want to take a chart break. I got a question for you, gentlemen. When you guys travel, let's say you're on a 6-hour plane ride, what are you typically dressing in? Are you dressing in like jeans, something more comfortable, pajamas, slippers? What's your like airport attire, Rob?
Sweatpants, t-shirt.
Okay. Shoes or like what, like loafers?
I usually slide in socks.
Slides? Okay. Magic?
I wear what I wear every day, man. I got like a gray, like almost sweatpants on. They're Fabletics, and a pair of Crocs and a t-shirt.
Okay. Fair enough. Well, guys, those days might be over. The transportation secretary, well, listen to what he had to say.
But I think we have to think about how do we do a better job? How do we, maintain maybe some of that frustration we have as we travel this Thanksgiving season? Maybe we should say please and thank you to our pilots and to our flight attendants. I think, again, I call this just maybe dressing with some respect. Whether it's a pair of jeans and a decent shirt, I would encourage people to maybe dress a little better, which encourages us to maybe behave a little better. Let's try not to wear slippers and pajamas as we come to the airport. I think that's positive.
Guys,
I couldn't hear it.
you couldn't hear it?
No, I couldn't hear anything.
Oh, dude. Okay, so
That's all right.
So the transportation secretary, what he pretty much said in a nutshell is, let's be respectful. Everyone's going to be traveling for Thanksgiving. Maybe don't dress in pajamas and slippers. Maybe dress in jeans and a shirt. If we dress better, we'll act better. This is the Secretary of Transportation telling us how to dress. So to you, Mr. Secretary, screw you. I'll dress however I want. Thank you very much. And I'll still be respectful and kind to everyone. Okay, I just wanted to take a quick break. Got anything to say there?
It's a great break. Great.
Thanks.
Great.
You are a fucking hater, bro. I don't like you anymore. You are an absolute hater. If it's not Rob's way, it's a terrible way. Magic, there's a potential new meta happening. I do want to share 2 headline news real quick, and then if you want to queue up an XLM chart, Magic, The first one here is Klarna, famous for buy your burrito now, but pay for it in 12 installments of 66 cents. They are introducing their own stable coin, and well, it's not launched on your favorite layer 1. It's launched on Stripe's layer 1. Tempo. With stablecoin transactions already at 27 trillion a year, we're bringing faster, cheaper cross-border payments to their 114 million customers. Crypto is finally ready to scale. This is just the beginning. So, not Cardano, not Ethereum, not Caspa, not ICP, Tempo, which is Stripe. So, it's a centralized. And then you have US Bank, who's one the other way. They are testing a custom stablecoin issuance on the Stellar network. Real infrastructure testing for regulated deposit tokens, the kind that could reshape how banks move money. And then Rob's favorite pizza chain, Domino's. They are enabling crypto and fiat payments with X money. And guess what? Processed on the SWI blockchain. So, Magic, Rob and I were on the show yesterday talking about, well, what's the next sector that's going to move, right? Privacy exploded. Is payments next? I'll ask Rob his thoughts, and then Magic, we can swap over to you for a Stellar Loomis chart if you don't mind. Rob, with the news, seems like there's some exciting announcements, SWI, XLM. Will you take a look? Real quick, I pulled up all the ISO 222 compliant coins, which include XRP, Cardano, Quan, Algorand, Stellar, Hedera, IOTA, XDC, and Corium. Do you think the next mover here is going to be payments and stablecoin rails? What are your thoughts?
Nope. Like, nobody cares how Domino's is moving money, bro. They just don't. The bank one is good. I think that the U.S. Bank, Stellar, I think that just makes a lot of sense, right? Especially when you look at why is XRP not in the mix? You would assume that XRP would be something that's going to partner with the banks. We got Ripple. They got a lot of meetings in Washington, D.C. with lawmakers. Hey, like, why not XRP? But you got to ask yourself, do you, if it's stable coins, is XRP and Stellar even the right move?
Well, I mean, one of the largest banks in the world, and they just said, yeah, Stellar is the right move. Not XRP, though. Stellar. Interesting.
Yeah, I get it. And then at the same time, is it going to be like it is for other, like we saw in the government, when the government was using on-chain data for tracking U.S. government money, particularly, was it the Treasury, right?
Something like that.
Yeah. So they chose a host of blockchains, right? I think it was the number was around 10 different blockchains. And so I I have a feeling that you're going to see something very similar, right? You have a lot of options. I know with the iPhone or with Android, you can send money through many different apps. And I know they're not making partnerships; they're just simply taking a cut of money for having their app on their marketplace. But I think you're going to see something very similar to that. In the same way that you probably use your bank and you can either send Zelle and then you can send, the regular, wire transfer, things like that. I think you're going to have multiple options when it comes to banks. I don't think even when it comes to crypto, I think that this is going to expand and it's not going to be as robust as on an exchange where you pick USDT and then you have 5 different networks you can send it through or 10. I think that it might be hamstring to 1 or 2 or 1 or 2 per asset. So like say, hey, I want to send Tether. You'll have like 2 networks, maybe 3. Circle, you might have 1 or 2. And I think you'll have the ability to move around your altcoins as well. I don't think it's going to be simply stable coins. Banks custody money. And at this point, I think it's safe to say that crypto is exactly that, right? I know it's more of an investment. We started the show by saying nobody wants to pay in crypto when it comes to your services and buying things every day. But also, you can store gold, stocks through your bank. I think crypto is the next obvious one. And I think there's going to be a lot of different players. But good to see that Stellar's there. I think it's pretty bullish for Stellar, man. I don't know. You think Stellar's price is gonna move from something like this?
I was watching it this morning. It was, and then it stopped moving. That's
I'll be honest. I'm only interested in what they're doing with Casey's rewards points. I've got like 25,000 of them. So whenever they figure that out, like let me know. That's like $100 in pizzas, man. That's a
lot of pizza. I had pizza last night from Marco's. Delicious.
Yeah, Rodney says Domino's isn't even really pizza. Like, I kind of agree. But then again, I think the definition of pizza has changed lately. It's just like, shit dough.
Shit dough?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it's just like the worst, like all-purpose flour is like bleached and like, yeah, it's not even real flour, My first job was in a pizza restaurant, man. Those are my roots, man.
Guys, welcome to your... Anyways, Magic, can we look at an XLM chart before this guy makes me lose more brain cells? Thank you.
All right, XLM, really simple chart. We haven't changed it much since we started talking about it, actually. Lower highs throughout, higher lows. So there's obviously a theme here of a triangle that's incoming. You can see 37.36 cents still remains that level. That's the level we need to see reclaimed. I believe even on a quarterly, if we went to it, you'll notice that it is the resistance here. So that 12-month SFP where we've been failing to close back above 37 cents still remains to be the level that needs to be held. So as far as support goes, the 2023 high is the only one that's within earshot. And it kind of falls close to the middle of it. But what you guys can do with a chart like this is you can start really looking at it. We're in log scale just because it's easier to kind of view the consolidation that's taking place here. When you see a top like this and support like right here, you'll notice a theme with this one where if we were to use the trend-based Fibonacci tool, so we're just measuring the length of this move down and then projecting it from the most recent high, you'll find that the gold pocket tends to be where you're going to find your highs and lows on this one. So you'll notice it was there. It will also be from this low to high to low. If we were to project again, you'll find that it is your top. So, and then not to outdo itself, it does the exact same thing again, where we're looking at the high to low to high, projecting and seeing that this area here between it looks like 19.59 cents up to, we'll call it 23 cents, really does need to be held as support. And if it does, you can consolidate underneath 37 cents. You could even make a projection for what you would expect to see in the instance of a breakout. You could start adding additional projections onto that, saying like, oh, somewhere in like $1.50 would be useful. I would start paying attention closer to like, these local highs here at like 80 cents first. But and then if it got really out of hand, a breakout would be like 214. And that's a logarithmic based breakout. And if you went through linear, it'd be a little bit more I guess tempered. It's not as extreme to look at. you'd be looking at targets like this. Now, that's the bullish case. For me, I'm a little more bearish on the chart. Looking at things on the failure to break here doesn't really look good because the year is very likely to close in this fashion. So a loss of 19.59 cents would confirm that you've got a fib trend to the downside. I'll pull that back up so you guys can see the target on that. Assuming that this is broken and we lose this like region of support, I believe is right here, right in here, and we could probably extend it down into like this region. We just say, you know, this major support breaks. You've got a nice 1-to-1 target at 8 cents down to 4 cents. So that's kind of the bearish case. And I only reside in that camp right now just because of how things have gone since we've re-entered this macro resistance. If it bounces from here and recovers and you get the higher low, then yeah, we have to kind of play it the opposite way. And I've got it underneath Bermuda because it is just a giant triangle right now, but it would imply a break into this. And these are yearly levels, meaning that on a yearly basis, this is where price has been settling up over time. It lines up really nicely with a trend-based fib. So if I was interested in this one and I didn't have a position and I was like, I just want stink bids, this is the box I'm looking for. If I'm a breakout trader and the markets are reversing, like let's say Bitcoin's behaving, this thing's going, you know, bananas above 37 cents. We know that we're looking for 81, then probably like $1.25 or so, and then maybe $2 even over time. But for right now, just based on general market dynamics, I err to the side that I'll probably see this box before I see any of those targets hit.
So it's over?
I wouldn't say, I mean, if this is over. But, you know, I would say it's an obvious target. You guys don't need to be a really like crazy good chartist to figure this out. When you start looking at things like this and you say, where's my support? Why would I put a box, you know, right here? Well, these are yearly candles. So this has been your support. And if this area is lost, there's really nothing between you and sub penny land at that point. So it's fairly important that this macro area between 4 and 7 cents is actually defended if it is reached again.
What kind of bullshit ass chart is that? Is that the year? You said that's a yearly? So we've been ping-ponging.
So it looks like a flag. If you want to get down to it, a lot of people would call this a flag. That would be the bullish argument, is that you have
doesn't it look more like an ascending triangle? I mean, I guess it could be a flag, but
you could definitely call it that, because again, you have that flat resistance right here. So if it's going to break up, it's going to have to hold on to about 20 cents. So in reality, where people should focus in the short term probably is here, like this little area of the chart, because this is a nice range. And if you go down to like a daily, you can see it's been a very nice range to trade on and off. So there's your entry, there's your hold. Now you've come back to the low side of the range. In theory, if this is going to be a higher low, you want to see this area hold and then revisit, you know, resistance up here. Go to the weekly. It's a little easier to see. Yeah. But even over here, you can see it set up a descending triangle up here. Looks like some kind of a double top here back in 21 when everything else was nuking. And now it's back up here, potentially looking similar, like a double top almost. I don't know if it's actually setting up that way, but you are below 46 on the RSI. I do a little bit of momentum work when it comes to altcoins, and below 46 for me on a weekly basis generally isn't good. You're generally looking to see if it's going to revisit oversold territory first, which would imply a break lower, potentially into that box. So, yeah, we'll see what we get. You know, it's not our job to know every little move. Just kind of have a plan for what's going to happen.
Amen to that. What a great statement, though.
And then if you could just take the quickest little peek at Bitcoin. We've seen a pretty decent spill off here. It was at 88,000 at the start of the show. It's currently at 86.3.
Damn.
So it's selling off quite
Bitcoin falling, everything falling. Remember that song?
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's got a pretty good tumble here. I'm just curious. Do you think it's going to find a little bounce here at 86? Or do you think this might be a little bit of a
I think if we're going to see, I don't think we're going to see a V-shaped recovery out of Bitcoin. I know a lot of people want that. I really don't think we will. This is, again, a very big macro support region. It would not surprise me if we came back to this region and revisited it. So my expectation is we'll probably at least challenge into the current low. And if I was looking for fresh positions on Bitcoin, it would just be very beneficial to maybe be patient and to maybe look to buy when we're closer down towards these levels between, like I said, somewhere between probably 78 up to 83 at that time. So that's how I'm viewing it. I know my halving levels also agree. So you guys know I run distributions both based on VWAP, but I also do it just based on general price. My halving levels for Bitcoin are here, I believe. Yeah, we calculate them by hand. It's very fun. This was the R1 and this was the R2. We actually talked about this one, me and you, Rob, on a show by ourselves, where you said, when would I look to buy a breakout? I said it'd have to break above the R2 at 114,427. It did tried to back test, hold it, once failed. You're now back testing the R1 at 89,116. That's actually your resistance here at the high of this. So I'm expecting this to come down. A lot of times when you see this, you'll revisit these SFP levels pretty religiously. So if we do come into this region, again, I'm looking at it as bounce territory, but I definitely do think it's likely that we'll probably come back and revisit these lows at some point here. And people will get very bearish again, and maybe we do get that formal breakdown. And this is one of those things where it happens like 2021, where everyone was waiting for a bounce that just never came, right? Yeah. That definitely happened right here. You got the big nuke. This thing bounced up to about, what was it, like 52, and then fell all the way down into the low 30s before rallying 50% back to 48 and some change. Maybe something similar. I know a lot of people are trying to say it's going to happen like last cycle, where we bounce back to the 200-day or the 50-week SMA or whatever moving average they're using in that place, because I think they're interchangeable. Very well could happen, but I'm still looking at this region of the chart as support, and I think I had it boxed off. It was a very big box for me anyway. Yeah, this was our box for looking for longs as we were entering, based on just like horizontal levels. It was 76.511 to 82.5, which is a huge box. So that's why I was saying be patient down here. Definitely easy on the leverage, because if it breaks, you're re-entering this range, and bad things are going to happen at that
Make sure
time.
you lube up that trade, so you don't hurt your portfolio. Magic.
I mean, there's some really interesting things that are going on with it, but we can talk another time about that.
Fair enough. It's always time to talk about the portfolio. Magic, we love you. We appreciate you. And we thank you for joining us every single Tuesday. Have a happy Thanksgiving, my friend, and we will see you next week.
Thanks. Happy Thanksgiving to you guys too.
Take care, brother. Thank you. All right. That's all I got. You got anything else?
I don't think so.
The answer is no. All right. The person back there. Who is it? Jake.
The person back there.
I wasn't sure.
Sin City Crypto.
Hey, you with the face.
Sin City Crypto. Everybody know we here for entertainment and info. Gonna show you how to get that big dough. So every day stay tapped in for big facts, no capping. With Bitcoin, if you're in, then you win. We divide the pie with no fraction. It's Big Rob, David. I split the game, but they gave it. Named according to your favorite. I got dry powder, why save it? To the OGs, new beginners. Special shout out to the well members. Buy a dip, sell winners. Ain't really nothing you can tell sinners. Tune in for the latest new flavors. They gonna teach us mean coins. They polarizing like barbecue chicken pizzas. I laugh with a major grin. Laggers, we trade them in. Baddies, they came to sin. And sinners gon' play to win. Screaming hola till my bags are flowing over. Hold ya to the moon, then to the solar. Won't I? Don't be letting FOMO control ya. It's over when the finger tornado close ya.